You begin with excitement. Each tool promises magic. Notion AI will change how you take notes and manage your tasks forever. Motion an AI calendar that actually knows what you should do and when to do it. Otter.ai, which transcribes your meetings so you don't have to. Grammarly Go, which writes for you and saves you hours of writing time. And then there's ChatGPT, which can solve any problem you throw at it. Perplexity AI, which makes Google look slow and outdated. Reclaim AI, which makes sure you actually have time for things outside of work. Canva AI, which means you can auto-generate presentations and designs in seconds. Runway Gen 2, which lets you edit your videos 10 times faster. And finally, Mem AI, which remembers everything for you. At first it feels like you're becoming Iron Man. You now have access to a bunch of AI tools that make your life easier, save you tons of time, and just generally make you feel smarter. Your notes organize themselves, your meetings get transcribed, your calendar tells you when to eat lunch, and you suddenly find yourself with way more time to work on the things that actually matter to you. But then reality hits. You realize that none of these tools are actually saving you any time, you're just changing what you spend your time on. So here's how each of these tools will actually change how you spend your time. Notion AI is kind of like having an AI assistant dedicated to helping you with your Notion workspace. This could be really helpful if you use Notion to keep track of your tasks and projects. For example, let's say you have a big project with lots of moving parts. You could ask Notion AI to help you break down the project into smaller tasks and set deadlines for each one. It could also help you figure out which tasks are dependent on others and make sure you don't forget anything. Personally, I have unfound this that useful because I rarely find the suggestions all that helpful. And they usually take a long time to load. But I guess if you're already deep in a rabbit hole of Notion, then maybe it's worth it for you. But you definitely don't need it to make Notion useful. Motion is an AI calendar that claims to be able to plan your entire day for you automatically. All you have to do is tell it what you want to accomplish, and it will schedule it for you. And while this sounds like a dream come true, I found that it doesn't always work out in practice. Like imagine you're a software engineer who spends most of their day coding, and they only have a few hours in the morning to get some work done before their workday starts. If you were to plug that into Motion, it would probably schedule your day in a very inefficient way. It would probably try to schedule you to start working on your personal project at 8 a.m. when you're still half asleep and not really able to focus. And then it would probably try to schedule you to work on your actual job at noon when you're already exhausted from working on your personal project. So instead of being efficient with your time, Motion would just end up creating a bunch of unnecessary context, switching and friction in your day. Otter.ai is a service that transcribes your meetings, so you don't have to. This can be especially useful if you're in a profession where you have a lot of meetings, like if you work in sales, or if you're a consultant, or if you're in product management. For example, if you're in a sales meeting and you're on the phone with a potential customer, you could just tell Otter to transcribe the conversation. And then later on, you could go back and review the transcript to remember what was said. I personally use it when I am interviewing people and I am not able to fully focus on taking notes because I am trying to make conversation. In those cases, it's nice to have Otter there generating a transcript, so I can read along as we speak and take notes on the important points. Grammarly Go is basically a writing assistant that uses AI to help you write better, faster. It can help you with things like grammar, spelling, punctuation, clarity, tone, style, and length. It works with a bunch of different apps and websites, so you can use it wherever you're rewriting. I personally use it all the time when I am writing emails or blog posts or scripts for videos because it saves me so much time. Like imagine you rewriting an email to a potential investor and you want to make sure that it's perfect before you send it. With Grammarly, you can just hit the free version S Super Checkup button, and it will instantly scan your text and correct any mistakes it finds. Or if you're writing a longer piece of content like a blog post or a script, you can use the free version's overall score feature to see how well written your post is. And based on the feedback, you can go back and make changes until your score is perfect. ChatGPT is probably the most well-known of the bunch, and for good reason too. It's one of the best AI tools out there right now, and it can pretty much do anything you want it to. Like if you're stuck on a problem, you can ask ChatGPT, and it'll help you think through it and come up with solutions. Or if you're working on a project, you can ask ChatGPT to give you ideas and suggestions and resources. Or if you just want to have a conversation, you can chat with it about literally anything. And the craziest thing about ChatGPT is that it's free to use. Well, at least it was free at the time of recording this video. There's no reason why you shouldn't be using it every single day. Perplexity AI is a new kind of search engine that uses AI to give you better, more relevant answers to your questions. Unlike Google, which shows you a bunch of different websites, and then you have to sift through them all to find the information you want. Perplexity AI will just give you a nice clean answer based on the information it has been trained on. I personally use Perplexity all the time when I'm researching topics for my videos or when I am just curious about something. Like recently I was curious about how many languages does ChatGPT know, and Perplexity gave me an instant answer. It also gave me sources for its answer, which is always helpful. And the best part is that Perplexity is free to use. At least it was free at the time of recording this video. Reclaim. AI is an app that helps you make time for the things that matter by automatically blocking off time in your calendar for important but often neglected activities like taking breaks, getting feedback, and self-care. The idea is that if you don't block off time for these activities, they're not going to happen. And that's actually backed up by science. Like there's this research study from the University of California, Berkeley, that found that people who blocked off time in their calendars for exercise were more likely to exercise than people who did untet. And Reclaim is able to do this by automatically blocking off time in your calendar based on your preferences. For example, let's say you want to take a break. Every afternoon at 3 p.m., you can just tell Reclaim to do that, and it will automatically block off time for you at 3 p.m. every day. You can also tell it to block off time for things like getting feedback or self-care. The great thing is that you can actually share these blocks with other people, so they know not to schedule anything over your break time. Canva AI is an AI design tool that can help you create high-quality marketing materials, social media posts, and other types of visuals super quickly. For example, let's say you want to create a social media post announcing a new product launch. You can use Canva's AI features to generate the text for the post, choose the colors and fonts, and even generate the images that go along with it. And the craziest part is that all of this can be done in just a few minutes. I personally use Canvas AI all the time when I'm creating thumbnails for my videos because it makes the process so much faster. Like recently, I needed a thumbnail for a video about productivity, and I used Canvas AI to generate the text and the image, and it took me less than 5 minutes to make it. Runway Gen 2 is a new AI tool that makes editing videos 10 times faster. And the best part is that it's free to use. At least it was free at the time of recording this video. For example, let us say you have a bunch of video clips that you want to put together to create a video. You can upload those clips to Runway, and then use their AI tools to automatically edit them together. You can also use Runway's AI tools to add text, music, and sound effects to your videos. And the craziest part is that all of this can be done in just a few minutes. I personally use Runway all the time when I'm creating thumbnails for my videos, because it makes it so easy to add text and graphics to the videos. AI is an app that lets you capture anything and remember it forever. You can use it to capture text, images, audio recordings, and even links. And the cool thing is that it uses AI to help you organize and search through your memories. I personally use it all the time to capture interesting things that I come across on the internet, or to record audio clips of my thoughts or ideas. It's kind of like a digital version of one of those old-school leather-bound journals that you have to dip your feather in ink to write with, except instead of ink, you use electrons. And instead of a leather-bound journal, you have an app on your phone. And instead of a feather, you use your voice. If you enjoyed this video, you'd probably enjoy this other video where I talk about 9 AI tools that will change your life. See you on the next video. In the meantime, have a great one. They said AI would change everything, and by Friday, they were right. By midweek, cracks start showing. We said AI will make us more efficient, but instead it's just filling our calendars with meetings. Motion keeps shuffling your calendar so much that you miss an important call. Now you have to reschedule everything. Wanted to use AI to write emails, but too many apps are overlapping. Mem and Notion feel like the same thing, and they both still can't replace an actual conversation. The AI-generated emails sound robotic, making you look less human, so you spend all your time rewriting it. You wanted to use AI to help you build a website, but it turns out that you spend more time setting up the tools than actually working. And then you wonder, was this really worth it? This is what happens when you don't understand how to work with AI. By Friday, you know you need a new strategy. Here's how you can fix it. First, let's talk about calendars. Calendly, woven. Calendly, Woven. They're all great at booking meetings, but that doesn't mean that you should have more meetings. So here's my rule. Use one of these tools only for external meetings. For internal meetings at your company, stick to email. Why? Because these tools often force you to overschedule. People want to book time with you. So they ask for 30 minutes or an hour, but that doesn't mean you need to spend that entire time in a meeting. You might be able to do the same thing in 15 minutes. But these tools don't give you that option. They also encourage you to block off your entire day. So you'll say you're busy from 9 to 6, but really you're only busy for a few hours in the middle of the day. That's why we schedule everything back to back to back. But you shouldn't do that. You should leave space in between meetings because you never know when something urgent comes up. If you overschedule yourself, you'll burn out faster. So my recommendation is this. Use a tool like Woven or Calendly for external meetings, but for internal meetings, just use email. The second problem is that you retrying to use AI to write emails when you should be using it for something else. If you use AI to write emails, it'll take over your job. Your boss will be happy because he gets more done through you, but that means that there's no room for you in the team. He doesn't need you anymore. I found this article that explains this really well. It's called Your Job is at Risk of Automation. Here's how to find out if yours is one of them. What they basically say is that jobs that are repetitive and rule-based are easy to automate. If your job follows a set of rules and you repeat those rules every day, then your job is at risk. So instead of writing emails, which is rule-based, use AI to write emails. Then, you can use your time to do more strategic work. Like, what do you think your boss wants to hear? What message do you want to send him? What story do you want to tell him? How can you convince him of something? These are things that require creativity and emotion. These are human skills. If you do them right, you'll get ahead faster. So here's my advice. Don't use AI to do what you're already good at. Instead, use it to do what you're bad at. Here's the third problem. You're retrying to use AI to build a website when you should be using it for something else. Look, if you want to learn how to build a website, it's not that difficult. There are plenty of online resources that can teach you. Just search for how to build a website and pick one. So my question to you is, what do you want to use AI for? What do you want to automate? Are you trying to save time? Are you trying to save money? Are you trying to save energy? Once you figure that out, you can find a tool to help you with that. I've been saying this for weeks, but it bears repeating. AI is not going to replace the work that you do. It's going to augment it. It's going to enhance it. It's going to make it better. So figure out what you want to improve, and then use AI to help you with that. And here's the most important tip. Don't use multiple tools. Pick one and stick with it. This is where most people mess up. They use 5 different tools, and then they wonder why their life is such a mess. It's because they can't keep track of 5 different tools. Each tool has its own interface, its own features, its own limitations. And if you use more than one tool, you'll always be learning and unlearning things. You'll always be adapting to new changes and updates, and that's exhausting. I see this happen all the time with productivity tools. People sign up for 3 different apps to manage their tasks, but then they can't keep track of them all. They end up missing deadlines and important dates. They have 2 different apps to manage their notes, but they forget which app they used for which project. So, my advice to you is this. Pick one app and stick with it. Learn it inside out. Learn all its features, all its shortcuts, all its hacks, and then use it for everything. You can even use it for things it wasn't designed for. For example, I use Notion for pretty much everything. Some people use Notion to manage their finances. Others use it to manage their social media. Still others use it to manage their entire business. And that's okay. As long as you're comfortable with it, as long as it works for you, then stick with it. But don't jump from one app to another. Don't use multiple tools. Okay, so you missed the memo. It's Friday afternoon and you need a new plan for Monday morning. So here's what you do. You go to the grocery store. You buy a bunch of ingredients. You cook a nice meal for your family. Then you sit down and watch a movie. You enjoy your weekend. Now on Sunday night, you start planning for the next week. You look at your calendar and you see that you have nothing scheduled. So you start scheduling things. Put some time aside for work, but you also put some time aside for fun. You schedule in some exercise, some reading, some socializing. You have a balanced schedule. You're ready for the week. Now on Monday morning, you wake up feeling refreshed and energized. You know what you need to do, and you know how to do it. We have a plan. And now I want you to close your eyes and imagine what your week would be like if you didn't have a plan. You wake up on Monday morning and you start checking your email. You have one email from your boss that says, "Hey, can you do this?" You reply, "Sure." Then you check your chat app and you see that your friend wants to meet up. You say, "Yeah, let's do it." And then you check your calendar and you see that you have a meeting in 30 minutes. You haven't even started your work yet and you're already stressed out. This is what happens when you don't have a plan. You're constantly reacting to what's going on around you. You're putting out fires, you're dealing with emergencies, and that's exhausting. You never know what's going to happen tomorrow. You never know who's going to reach out to you. You never know what problems you're going to face. But if you have a plan, you're prepared for anything. My manager once told me, if you fail to plan, you're planning to fail. I've never forgotten that. Planning gives you focus. It gives you clarity. It gives you direction. Without it, you're lost. And that's why I love Sundays. On Sunday nights, I plan out my entire week. I know what I need to do and when I need to do it. And that makes me confident. It gives me this sense of control over my life. Okay, so you have a plan. Now you need to execute on it. And that's where most people mess up. They have the best ideas, but they don't know how to implement them. They don't know how to turn their ideas into reality. So here's what you do. You break down your tasks into smaller steps. Let's say you want to launch a new product. You break that down into smaller steps like market research, product design, development, testing, and then you tackle each step one at a time. This is called execution. It's the process of turning plans into results. It's where the rubber meets the road. It's not always easy. Sometimes things don't go according to plan. Sometimes you face unexpected challenges. But if you have a plan and you know how to execute on it, then you're unstoppable. Here's what happens when you install 10 AI tools in a productivity system. On day one, you are excited. You get access to all these cool AI tools, and you start testing them out one by one. So they all seem useful. It's like getting 10 new toys on Christmas morning. But pretty quickly you realize something. You don't have time to learn 10 new things. You can't master 10 different interfaces and workflows all at once. So you start to divide them into two groups. The ones you like, and the ones you might keep using. And then there are the also-rans. So on day two, you focus on the keepers. You really like these tools. You see their value, and you want to understand how to use them even better. You start to look for patterns. Maybe some of the tools complement each other, or maybe they overlap in functionality. And that S, when you start to get frustrated, because now you realize there are costs associated with these tools. There is a cost of switching between applications. There is a cost of re-entering data, and there is a cost of context switching between tasks. But most importantly, there is a cost of learning. If you really want to maximize the value of these tools, you have to learn how to use them well. And that brings us to day 3. This is where you start to settle into a workflow. You still have multiple tabs open, but things are starting to take shape. You are beginning to figure out which tools do what best, and you are developing a system for managing them. Maybe you have a single application for writing and editing. Maybe you have another app for research and fact-checking. And then there is a third app for design work. You've created a system that works, but it's still not perfect. And that brings us to day 4. On day 4, you shift your focus. Instead of testing them all equally, you ask yourself, which of these actually makes me faster, calmer, and more effective? And this is the crucial part. You evaluate each tool based on how well it fits into your workflow and your system. Some tools will make the cut and others won't. Let me show you what mine did. The first one is ChatGPT. It was the OG language model, and it remains my favorite for brainstorming, outlining, and drafting. It's my go-to for quick answers to technical questions, and it's great at helping me write in different styles. ChatGPT is fast and reliable, but it has limitations. One big one is that it doesn't always give you the most up-to-date information. That's where Perplexity AI comes in. I use Perplexity AI for research. When I need to find sources or data to back up my writing, I can't always rely on ChatGPT to give me the latest information. But with Perplexity AI, I know I'm getting the most current and accurate data available. Together, ChatGPT and Perplexity AI make a great research tag team duo. ChatGPT does the heavy lifting and finds potential sources, while Perplexity AI double-checks everything and ensures accuracy. Next up is Notion AI. It's an easy choice to keep. Notion is where I keep all my projects, notes, and deadlines. Having AI built into Notion is a game changer. It helps me brainstorm, write, and edit directly in the app. I don't have to switch to ChatGPT or any other app. Everything stays centralized, and I don't lose any of my progress or context. I can easily continue working on my computer or switch to my phone or tablet. My work follows me, and the AI makes it even easier to pick up where I left off. Then there's Otter.ai. It started out as just another note-taking app, but it quickly became clear that it was one of the most underrated AI tools in my workflow. I realized how much time I save by not having to take manual notes in meetings. I used to spend countless hours typing up notes after every meeting, but now Otter does it for me instantly. I can review and edit the transcript right in Otter. AI or export it to Notion. For longer recordings, Otter AI saves me hours every week. And if you use it for internal meetings, you can turn on live transcription, so you don't have to worry about note-taking at all during the meeting. Just let Otter handle it. Next is Canva AI. Now, I'll be honest. Before Canva AI, I didn't think much of Canva. I mean, it's a design tool. How much AI can you really add to a design tool? Well, quite a lot, as it turns out. Canva AI has been a pleasant surprise. I use it for all my presentations. It saves me hours of design time, and it's not just because it generates images. Sure, that's cool, but it's also because it automates the process of creating charts, diagrams, and mock-ups. I used to spend hours finding the right templates and then customizing them. With Canva AI, it takes minutes. Plus, the designs are often better than what I could have come up with on my own. But not all AI tools are created equal, and some are just plain useless. So on day 4, you uninstall the ones that don't make the cut. You realize that having 10 AI tools isn't just a luxury, it's a liability. It slows you down and distracts you from your work. You no longer feel the need to test every new tool or feature. You have enough on your plate already. In my case, I uninstalled 4 of them. First, Grammarly. Honestly, I never thought it was worth the price. Yes, it's a good grammar checker. But so are the built-in tools in Google Docs and Word. Plus, ChatGPT can help with grammar too. Next, Designer AI. It's a cool tool with lots of potential, but I just don't have time to learn a new design app, especially since Canva AI already does a good job, and there's Clean AI. It's a great tool for summarizing text, but there are free alternatives like ChatGPT and Perplexity AI. And finally, Runway ML. I'll be honest, I never really got the hang of this one. I couldn't figure out how to make it work for me, so I uninstalled it and saved myself some cognitive energy. So on day 4, you've gone from 10 AI tools to 6. You've identified the ones that make you faster, calmer, and more effective, and you've uninstalled the rest. This is where you settle into a new workflow. You're not overwhelmed by the number of tools, and you're not wasting time switching between apps or learning new interfaces. You have a system that works, and it feels good. But this is also where you start to think about the future. You wonder if there are more tools out there that you should be using, or if there are ways to improve your existing workflow. Maybe you could use one tool to feed data into another, or maybe you could automate a task that you do every day. The possibilities are endless. That's why day 4 is just the beginning. It's the start of a new journey where you continue to refine your workflow and make it even more efficient. You keep experimenting and tweaking until you find the perfect balance of tools and techniques. And who knows? Maybe someday you'll have a system that looks like this. So last Friday we did it. We went live for the first time ever. Now my goal was for you to walk away with a battle plan to start using AI and mastering one tool a week. This is the only way to not get overwhelmed by all the choices. Instead of showing you 20 different tools like other channels would, I decided to focus on one tool per week. So today we're going to recap everything, but also go into the overall theme that I want this channel to be about, and that is productivity without overwhelm. So here's a little secret. In the run-up to the live stream, I was unsure if I should do it or not because I thought it might take too much work. What would I talk about? How do I add value? Would anyone even show up? These are all things that I had to overcome in order to make that live stream happen. But ultimately, I'm really glad that I did it. Not only did we hit over 6,000 views in the first week, but I also got to chat with some of you guys. And there was a common thread throughout our conversations. You're still feeling a bit stuck. Now don't worry. I was in the same place just a few weeks ago. But after working through the prompts and mastering one tool, you realize that it's not about downloading more tools. It's about finding the right mix for your workflow and understanding how to use each tool effectively. The key is to start with the prompt engineering foundation we laid last week. Remember, you can't master ChatGPT unless you understand the fundamentals of how to ask the right questions. Once you have that, then you can start exploring different tools and figuring out where they fit into your workflow. For example, let's say you want to use AI to help you write better emails. You could try a bunch of different tools, but if you don't have a good prompt, they won't be very effective. You need to first figure out what kind of emails you want to write better. Cold outreach, follow-ups, thank you notes, and then craft a prompt that helps you achieve that goal. For instance, maybe you want to write a cold email to a potential customer. You could ask ChatGPT to write a cold email on your behalf with a subject line and opening that increases the likelihood of a response. And then you could use an email template to ensure that your formatting is consistent across all of your emails. So while there are tons of tools out there for writing better emails, they're only going to be effective if you use them in combination with a well-crafted prompt. The reason I wanted to start with prompt engineering is that it's the foundation for everything else. It's like trying to learn a new language. If you don't understand the basics, it's going to be really hard to communicate effectively. And in the case of AI, the basics are understanding how to construct a good prompt. So once you have that down, then you can start experimenting with different tools and figuring out what works best for you. And remember, productivity isn't about working faster. It's about freeing up your brain space to focus on what really matters. You know those times when you're trying to work but you keep getting distracted by email, Slack notifications, and browser tabs? That's because our brains are constantly bombarded with distractions and it's hard to stay focused. Productivity isn't about working faster. It's about working smarter. It's about finding ways to eliminate distractions and allowing yourself to enter a state of flow. When you're in flow, you're completely absorbed in the task at hand, and time seems to stand still. You're not thinking about what you need to do next or what you did last. You're just focused on the task at hand. And that's where the real magic happens. That's when you're able to produce your best work. This is why I think it's so important to find the right mix of tools that work for you. Because the fewer distractions you have, the easier it is to get into a state of flow. So I want you to close your eyes for a second and picture your ideal week. Imagine what it would look like if you had more time, if you were more productive. See if you can identify any pain points or areas where you feel like you could use some extra help. Maybe it's writing better emails or creating better presentations or coming up with innovative ideas. Whatever it is, jot it down. These are the areas that AI can help you with the most. And by understanding your pain points, you can start to figure out which tools can help you address them. Next, let's talk about tools. Here's the thing. You don't need a million different tools to be productive. In fact, having too many tools can be counterproductive. It can lead to analysis paralysis, which is when you spend so much time trying to find the perfect tool that you end up getting nothing done. So instead of trying to find the perfect set of tools, I want you to start with the problems you identified earlier, and then find one or two tools that can help you address those problems. And when you find a tool that works, stick with it. Don't go jumping from tool to tool, looking for something better, because you might never find it. And if you do, it'll probably just be a matter of time before another shiny object comes along. Instead, learn to appreciate the tool you have and use it to its fullest potential. Here's how I decide which tools to use. I start with the problem I'm trying to solve. For example, let's say I want to write a blog post. I might start by asking ChatGPT for some ideas. I could also ask Jasper for some title suggestions. And then I'd use Google Docs to write the actual post. So instead of trying to find the perfect tool for writing blog posts, I use a combination of tools that work well together and solve my specific problems. Another tip is to choose tools that integrate well with each other. For example, if you use Google Workspace, it might make sense to stick with other Google products like Gmail, Google Calendar, and Google Docs. That way, you can easily share files and collaborate with others. Similarly, if you use Apple products, it might make sense to stick with other Apple products. Integrating tools is crucial for efficiency. When your tools work well together, it reduces the friction in your workflow and allows you to focus on your work rather than the tools themselves. Finally, don't forget to automate as much as possible. Automation is key to freeing up your time and mental space for more important tasks. There are a ton of different ways to automate your workflow, depending on the tools you use. One great example is Zapier, which can connect different apps and automate tasks between them. So if you're looking to automate your workflow, definitely check it out. Most importantly, don't get overwhelmed. It's easy to get caught up in all the hype around AI and productivity tools and start downloading every app under the sun, but that's not the way to go. Instead, focus on your pain points. Find one or two tools that can help you address them and master those tools. Productivity isn't about downloading the latest and greatest app. It's about finding the right mix of tools that work for you and using them to their fullest potential. So here's a quick recap of the takeaways from this live stream. No. 1. Productivity isn't about working faster. It's about working smarter and freeing up your brain space for what matters. No. 2. Don't get overwhelmed by the number of tools out there. Start with the problems you're trying to solve, and then find one or two tools that can help you address them. And no. 3. Automate as much as possible to free up your time and mental space for more important tasks. If you found this helpful, please smash the like button and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.